Something is happening in your body right now. And if you're over 70, taking vitamin D the wrong way can make you weaker, not stronger. If you want to stay healthy and independent as you age, hit that subscribe button right now. We share simple, science-backed health tips like this every single day. Here's the thing. For years, doctors have watched the same pattern. One person hears vitamin D is good, so they take a little. Another hears more is better, so they take a lot. And many people never learn the part that really matters. Not just whether you take vitamin D, but why, how much, and whether your body can even use it well. By the end of this video, you'll know what most people miss, what can help, and what can backfire. Now, before we continue, tell me your age and where you're watching from in the comments. This helps us understand who we're helping. Here's what most people get wrong. They think vitamin D is always safe, always helpful, and always needed in big doses after 70. But that is not what the research shows. A 2022 study from Harvard Medical School found that healthy men age 50 and older and women 55 and older who took 2,000 IU of vitamin D3 every day had no fewer bone fractures than people taking a placebo, which means a fake pill, over 5 years. Did you hear that? Not fewer fractures, not stronger bones, no clear difference for that group. And it gets even more surprising. A 2020 report from the University at Buffalo, based on the sturdy trial in adults 70 and older at higher risk for falls, found no benefit from higher vitamin D doses like 2,000 or 4,000 IU a day. In fact, those higher dose groups had a greater risk of hospitalization or death than the group taking 200 IU a day. That does not mean vitamin D is bad. It means vitamin D is powerful, and powerful things need to be used the right way. So the truth is not that doctors are hiding vitamin D from you. The truth is simpler. The message got flattened. People heard vitamin D matters and turned it into take more every day forever. But health does not work like that. Not more, but enough. Not guessing, but matching. Not hype, but the right fit for your body. And that brings us to number 5. Number 5. Strong bones do not always mean high-dose pills. Most people think vitamin D is a bone pill. They think if bones get weak with age, the answer must be a bigger dose. But actually, vitamin D works more like a helper than a builder. It helps your gut absorb calcium, which is one of the main minerals in bone. Think of vitamin D like the person who opens the door. It is important, but opening the door is not the same as rebuilding the whole house. Do you see the difference? That's why the Harvard Medical School study matters so much. In 2022, their large trial showed that 2,000 IU a day did not lower fracture risk in generally healthy older adults. So if you are taking a high dose just because you are aging, that may not be the smart move. If your doctor told you to take more because you have osteoporosis, a broken bone, or trouble absorbing nutrients, that is different. But for many healthy older adults, more is not automatically better. So what should you do? First, know the basic target. The National Institutes of Health says adults over 70 need 800 IU a day. That is the usual daily goal, not a one-size-fits-all prescription. The same NIH page says the upper limit for adults is 4,000 IU a day, unless a clinician tells you otherwise. That upper limit is not a goal. It is a ceiling. Big difference. Next, look at food before you reach for the mega dose bottle. 3 ounces of cooked sockeye salmon gives about 570 IU. 3 ounces of farmed rainbow trout gives about 645 IU. 1 cup of fortified milk gives about 120 IU. A fortified cereal serving gives about 80 IU. 1 large scrambled egg gives about 44 IU. So yes, food can move the needle. Not perfectly, but meaningfully. And here's a simple way to use that. If breakfast gives you 120 IU from fortified milk and 80 IU from cereal, that is 200 IU. Add 1 egg, and you are near 244 IU. Later, if dinner includes salmon, you may already be near or above the daily goal. That is a very different picture from blind dosing. Quick question. Have you noticed weaker legs, poor balance, or more fatigue lately? Comment yes or no below. Now let's go deeper, because number 4 is where things get personal. Number 4, your muscles may be warning you before your bones do. Most people think low vitamin D shows up only as weak bones, but actually your muscles often feel it first. Your muscles need vitamin D to help them contract, repair, and work well. Without enough, your body can feel like a flashlight with weak batteries. It still turns on, but not for long and not very bright. A 2019 study from Trinity College Dublin looked at more than 4,100 adults, age 60 and older. The results were hard to ignore. Muscle weakness was almost twice as common in older adults with vitamin D deficiency. It was 40.4% in the deficient group, compared with 21.6% in those with adequate levels. Poor physical performance was about 3 times higher. It was 25.2% in the deficient group, compared with 7.9% in the adequate group. Why does that matter? Because weak muscles can mean slower walking, trouble getting out of a chair, and a higher risk of falls. So stop asking only, "Are my bones okay?" Also ask, "How do my legs feel? How steady am I? Can I rise from a chair without pushing hard with my hands?" Those are everyday clues. Not perfect clues, but useful ones. Here's a practical test you can do at home. Sit in a sturdy chair, stand up and sit down 5 times at your normal pace. If that feels much harder than it used to, pay attention. Next, take a normal walk across the room. Do you shuffle? Do you feel unsteady turning around? If yes, low vitamin D might not be the only reason, but it is worth discussing with your doctor. And don't forget, movement. Vitamin D is not a replacement for exercise. Not pill instead of motion, but pill plus motion when needed. Aim for simple strength work 3 times a week. Chair stands, wall push-ups, heel raises, and short walks count. If your doctor allows it, start with 5 to 10 minutes and build slowly. Add protein-rich foods too, because muscles need building blocks. Vitamin D opens the door, but movement tells the muscle to use it. But wait until you see number 3, because this next one changes how you should think about blood tests, supplements, and deficiency itself. Number 3. The real danger is deficiency, not perfection. Most people chase the perfect vitamin D number. But actually, the real issue is often plain deficiency, which means levels that are too low. Not highest, but high enough. That should be the goal. A 2022 study from the Federal University of São Carlos in Brazil and University College London followed more than 3,200 adults age 50 and older for 4 years. They found that people with vitamin D deficiency had a 70% higher risk of developing dynapenia, which means age-related muscle strength loss. And when the researchers excluded people with osteoporosis and those already taking vitamin D, the risk was 78% higher. That is a huge jump. So yes, low vitamin D matters. It matters a lot. But here is the trap. Many people hear that and think, fine, I'll just take a huge dose. That is the wrong lesson. The lesson is to correct a real deficiency, not flood your body, not chase a giant number, just fix what is low. So when should you ask about testing? If you are over 70 and you fall often, stay indoors most days, have osteoporosis, had weight loss surgery, have kidney or liver disease, or have gut problems like Crohn's disease or celiac disease, bring it up. If you take medicines that affect vitamin D, bring it up. If your legs feel weaker and you cannot explain why, bring it up. A blood test can show whether your level is actually low. And once you know your level, match the plan to the result. That is where many people go wrong. They self-treat first and ask questions later. But if you are low, your doctor may suggest a short-term higher dose and then a lower maintenance dose. If you are not low, you may not need much at all. Same vitamin, different body, different plan. Before we go further, if this is making sense so far, hit that like button. It tells me you want more videos like this. Now let's talk about something almost nobody mentions. Number 2. Vitamin D does not work alone. Most people think vitamin D is a solo hero, but actually, it works more like part of a team. One of its most important partners is magnesium. Magnesium is a mineral your body uses in hundreds of reactions. Without enough of it, vitamin D may not be used the way your body needs. A 2018 study from Vanderbilt University Medical Center found that magnesium helped optimize vitamin D status. In plain English, it raised vitamin D in people who were low and lowered it in people who were high. That is a big clue. Your body does not just need more input, it needs better balance. Think of vitamin D like a key. Magnesium helps turn the key. If the key is fine but the lock will not turn, the door still stays shut. That is why some people take vitamin D for months and feel nothing. The problem may not be the vitamin, the problem may be the missing helper. So how do you use this? First, take your vitamin D with food, not on an empty stomach, because vitamin D is fat soluble. That means it mixes better with fat. A meal with eggs, yogurt, Peanut butter toast, salmon, or even avocado can help. Second, eat more magnesium-rich foods, dark leafy greens, beans, whole grains, nuts, dark chocolate, avocados, and salmon all help. Third, do not assume a supplement can fix a poor eating pattern by itself. Here's a simple example. Breakfast could be fortified milk, oatmeal, and a boiled egg. Lunch could be beans and greens. Dinner could be salmon with brown rice. That is not fancy. That is not expensive restaurant food. But it gives your body more of what vitamin D needs to do its job. I'd love to hear your story. What made you click on this video today? Share in the comments. And now we get to the point that can save you the most trouble. Number 1, more vitamin D can become too much vitamin D. Most people think vitamins are always gentle, but actually vitamin D can cause real harm when you overdo it. The NIH says older adults are already at higher risk of low vitamin D because aging skin makes less of it, people spend more time indoors, and food intake may be lower. But at risk of low does not mean take all you can. That is where people get into trouble. The NIH also warns that very high vitamin D can lead to hypercalcemia, which means too much calcium in the blood. When that happens, you can feel nausea, vomiting, weakness, poor appetite, thirst, and frequent urination. It can also cause kidney stones. In severe cases, it can hurt the kidneys, affect the heart, and cause confusion. Let me be clear. I'm not saying this to scare you, but you should never treat vitamin D like candy. And remember that 2020 University at Buffalo report. Higher doses did not help those older adults at risk for falls, and the higher dose groups had more hospitalizations or deaths. That does not prove high doses harm everyone, but it absolutely kills the myth that high dose means high protection. So what is the smarter move? Use the smallest effective plan. Start with food, your actual risk, and medical advice. Know the daily target for your age. Respect the upper limit. If you have been taking 5,000 IU, 10,000 IU, or more every day for a long time without guidance, that deserves a conversation with your doctor. Let's pump the brakes for a second. If you have kidney disease, liver disease, a history of kidney stones, sarcoidosis, problems absorbing food, or high calcium levels, do not guess with vitamin D. If you take orlistat for weight loss, certain statins like atorvastatin, lovastatin, or simvastatin, steroids, or thiazide water pills, vitamin D can interact with those. That does not mean you can never take it. It means your plan should be personal. And please watch for warning signs. If you start vitamin D, and then feel more nausea, more weakness, more thirst, more bathroom trips, constipation, confusion, or a strange heartbeat, stop guessing and call your doctor. If you have new severe symptoms, get urgent care. Again, I'm not saying this to scare you, but because vitamins can still act like drugs when the dose gets high enough. So you're convinced, but thinking, how do I actually do this? Start simple. First, do not jump to a megadose unless a clinician tells you to. Second, look at your weekly routine. Are you indoors most of the time? Do you rarely eat fish, eggs, or fortified foods? Do you feel weaker in your legs? Do you fall, shuffle, or struggle to stand up? Those are good reasons to ask your doctor whether testing makes sense. Then build the easiest daily routine possible. Use food first when you can. A cup of fortified milk gives about 120 IU. A serving of fortified cereal gives about 80 IU. One large scrambled egg gives about 44 IU. 3 ounces of salmon gives about 570 IU. 3 ounces of trout gives about 645 IU. If you use a supplement, take it with a meal. Keep the bottle where you will remember it. And write the dose down so you do not double up by mistake. If money is tight, focus on the basics. Eggs, fortified milk or plant milk, canned sardines, canned tuna, fortified cereal, beans and greens for magnesium. Short indoor strength work costs nothing. A chair, a wall, and 10 minutes can do a lot. Isn't that better than spending money on giant bottles you may not even need? Look, there's a lot of noise out there. One person says everyone over 70 needs vitamin D. Another says nobody does. The truth sits in the middle. You do not need to overthink this. You need the right amount, for the right reason, in the right body. Start with just this. Check your dose, check your food, and if you have real risk factors, ask your doctor whether you should be tested. Your body will tell you if it's working. Your legs feel steadier. Your chair stands feel easier. Your energy feels more reliable. If this helped you, hit that like button. And if you want more videos like this, make sure you're subscribed because we post new health tips every single day. Stay healthy, stay strong,